Welcome to Bold, Rubicon Showcase, where we are highlighting and shining a light on independent hoteliers rewriting the rules of hospitality. I'm your host, Nadia. In this episode, we are visiting Hotel Schloss Neetzow, a 19th century English style mansion that has been lovingly restored by the very family who built it. When Philipp and his partner Nico reclaimed the estate in 2021, they inherited not just a property, but a legacy. Their vision to breathe new life into this beautiful castle, preserve its history, and create an experience where every guest feels part of its story. Today, Schloss Neetzow stands as a masterclass in how independent hoteliers can retrieve heritage spaces, adapt to changing guest expectations, and use smart digital systems to deliver seamless hospitality. Philipp, welcome to Bold. Schloss Neetzow is such a beautiful historic property. For those who haven't seen it, can you tell us a little bit like what makes it so special besides that it's a castle?
Hi, Nadia. Pleasure speaking to you today. Well, what makes the place so special, like probably every historic building in our estate, 175 years of age, shows us historic attention to detail. Obviously, my family back then, they wanted to create not just a family home, but also a place of belonging for the future generations to come. Everything here in the castle makes so much sense because of the spaciousness and the detailing of the rooms, the almost hidden location in the landscape close to the Baltic coast, and also the integration into the landscape park and its little sea surrounding the house. So I think the best way to describe it is kind of a little oasis where the world seems to stand still, where the hustle and bustle of everyday life is banished, and our guests can find peace and quiet. Not as a kind like a silent monastery, but also more as a place where you can enjoy an undisturbed break with yourself and your loved ones.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Maybe a little bit of a background story as well, because actually my family also has a little bit of a similar story because my father and his partner, they also rolled into the hotel industry and they actually bought also like a similar castle. I think it's about an hour away from you, like in Kittendorf. It's been sold now, so I don't know if it's still a hotel or not, but like renovating the place from scratch, that is a bold move.
Yeah,
So
I know
yeah,
it.
and really,
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
It's
Really, you
the
do?
same architect building Kittendorf and Schloss Neetzow. So it's
No way.
yeah, small world.
Yeah, definitely a small world. Yeah, I just remember when we are talking about when your guests arrive and what you would like them to feel or see. I remember I obviously haven't walked into your beautiful spaces, but just standing in front of such an, yeah, I don't know, like this old building that has been there since a long time and that just speaks to you, right? Like what you want your guests to experience.
Well, first of all, many people, when they think of castles, they automatically think to Queen Elizabeth or Kaiserin Sissi, right? And then expect a certain environment with vast glamour or even aristocratic attitude. However, all these images, they come from cinema movies or even the yellow press. So they have little to nothing to do with the historic reality of those places. These houses were and actually still are the home of a family, where the atmosphere is more unpretentious, informal, and kind of relaxed, like everyday family home should be. So take food, for example. Our evening menu here in the hotel features classic beef roulade or couscous with goat cheese, rather than sautéed quail on Lagostine sorbet. So in our daily activities, we therefore try to make our guests feel less like a hotel guest and more like friends visiting our little castle family. Secondly, I believe that the tourism industry often offers just a little bit too much to its guests. Of course, the motive there is to increase the per guest turnover. However, many guests, they just want to be left alone or simply relax with the loved ones, live in a quiet and pleasing atmosphere. Meaning that we have reduced our offerings to the pure but yet high quality essentials and can therefore still offer a competitive pricing. So to speak, fitness rooms, wellness and spa facilities, treatments. These are all great extras, of course, but they all come at a cost, right? Meaning that every guest pays for these extras with a higher room price, regardless of whether they use them or not. So with our reduced to the max strategy, we have clearly stuck short with the spirit of the time, enabling us to offer, on one hand, a truly outstanding range of service, but still at a price that is affordable for almost everyone.
That is actually a very good concept. I didn't even think about this. I mean, when if you just want to have the retreat and you have the biggest spa around you because you have this
Exactly.
beautiful area, right? And
Yeah.
this, I think the Linné Park. So why would you? I mean, indeed, you just want to enjoy nature or, wander through a castle.
Exactly. The
That's
castle stands
amazing.
for itself. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And how is it for you? Because for you, it's legacy, right? It's your family that has built this. How is that to be able to retrieve that and to bring it back into your family?
Well, in retrospect, the pandemic actually was the helping hand here. Before our takeover in the year of 21, the estate was primarily used as a wedding venue for almost 20 years. And obviously, a wedding venue, it makes sense from the first look at it. But lavish parties and especially the alcohol coming with that did not do the historic interior very well. So with the ban of the German government in 2020 that large gatherings weren't allowed during the pandemic anymore, our predecessors' wedding business model simply collapsed overnight. So, and as I myself was also affected by the pandemic in my very own professional life, we simply turned the crisis for everyone, and actually everyone watching probably had experienced this crisis for himself as well. We turned that into a new opportunity for us and took over the lease of the property and used the time during the pandemic to do the makeover, turning the place into that what it is today.
Mm. So it's an opportunity that actually came along. I think with how bad obviously the pandemic was, and I hope that there comes a time that we don't have to speak about it so much anymore. But I think what it did do for both guests and the hospitality industry is that change was needed, right? Or like a different way of thinking or
Yes.
reinventing what you actually can do. And yeah, it's a different way of thinking that you're doing because indeed you are looking at this castle and the first thing you're thinking is weddings. So yeah, I think that's absolutely great concept that you have, and also taking consideration of actually the building, right? Like that's the old that you now probably can have the classical doors or nice pictures that come from, I don't
Ceilings.
know, from
Yeah.
ceilings, right? That's you don't have to be worried about that being damaged.
Yeah.
So before this journey, were you actually in the hospitality industry or did you roll into it?
Well, and I hospitality, but I was based in large scale events mostly. So I was working with large trade show organizers and arena operators. So my actual role only covers 54 guests at a maximum a night. In former days, I was responsible for 15,000 people a night. So it's smaller. It's definitely smaller. But on the end of the day, the principle of hospitality, they remain the same. Let's say, for example, get the guest expectation management right. At the moment, the guest is booking your place. Or be present, but be not intrusive. Or create an atmosphere where everyone feels invited to be part of that story. And we actually have kind of an, interesting
Story
story.
to tell. Yeah.
And try to anticipate the guests' wishes before they even can express them. But therefore, you need time. We maybe come later to it, how to create this extra time to make sure of that point. And I think last but not least, most importantly, put yourself in your guest shoes and design your offer solely from the perspective and the customer journey from the guest point of view and not from the tourism side of view. Then I think you have a good line to follow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it clearly shows you have like amazing guest reviews, right? So, you obviously you are caring about the guests, right? And the guest experience. So, what is the feedback your guests are giving you? Like, if you have to say like the one thing, what do they value the most?
Mhm. Well, let's start at a point that, from my point of view, the large hotel chains converting historic places like that into hotels they generally make the same mistake without any exception. They smooth everything over and eliminate everything that little historical scar is in or on that building. So effectively, they're renovating the property to death. Unfortunately, this as a result completely destroys the whole charm and the soul of those buildings, to speak. So to prevent this, we promised ourselves from the outset that we would leave everything that is historic to its original condition. This allows our rooms to continue to exude their historical charm, making them truly authentic and genuine. When selecting the furniture again, we have opted for timeless modernity and have ensured that all furnishings, from mattress to smart TV, meet contemporary standards and technology. So our guests actually love that mix, and that comes out the most.
Mhm. Yeah, that's amazing that you have like the smile on his face, right? When the guests are arriving, but hopefully also when they're departing, and then
Yeah.
giving you this feedback. This is also what makes your hotelier heart breathe, right? And what makes you go around and being creative and look for new solutions. Do you think, like, in terms of technology, like how does that match up, right? Like with this personal experience versus automation, like how does that help you?
Mhm. My opinion, to be frank, hotels stays don't need to be really complex. After all, it's solely the guest who puts together all the attributes to the stay as she or he wants it, right? So instead of making long phone calls and spelling out email addresses to transfer them into our own system, we say you buy your train ticket online and you also order your goods via Amazon. So you also should be able to book your stay with us online. And the result is quite amazing. And sales and after sales are no longer a major part of your daily operations. You, in the end of the day, you have more time for what really matters, your guest on site. So, for example, our hotel has 29 rooms and operates with only 5 full-time staff, including myself. This only is possible as we have digitally streamlined all our offerings and the way how to book them and can solely concentrate on handling them. And now comes the most important part from my perspective. We communicate everything that may be of interest regarding the stay to our guests in advance using your automated communication on offer. So our guests know exactly what to expect and, sometimes even more important, what not to expect. So we do not have any need for daily coordination between our reception, housekeeping, or even the morning or evening kitchen, as everyone in the team accesses the same data. And therefore, everyone in the team has the same level of knowledge about our guests and their needs at any time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's so underestimated, this communication before a guest arrives, and indeed this expectation management,
Yes.
because this a guest journey is super long, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't start with the guest arriving; it starts with
Mm.
the guest searching and making the choice to book
Yeah.
and so forth.
Yeah.
At my little small hotel, I only had 9 rooms, but I had the problem, they booked a hotel in the city center, right? Everybody is excited. Oh, it's close to the city. I'm right in the city, but there's also a drawback, right? I mean, first of all, you cannot drive with a car in front of the hotel. And the second one is it was located right next to the church, which has bells, right?
Mhm.
But every time I had to call the guests before and just said, like, okay, you cannot park in front, because just having this one little friction of the hotel, the whole guest experience was already,
Mhm.
very difficult to recover.
Yeah.
So just this little information that they can get, like it just solved the whole problem. Sometimes it's so simple,
Yeah.
but yeah, very meaningful to both hoteliers and guests, right?
Mhm.
So your castle, obviously, a new era has been opened, I think, and a new journey is it's coming along with a new purpose. So, what are you looking forward in this next chapter?
Well, we are now in the 5th year of operation, so we survived. First years are over, and I think the concept proved to be the right one. And I really feel that the house right now absolutely is serving the right purpose.
Mhm.
It's like a home away from home for our guests. That's just wonderful and motivating to see how every one of our guests is enjoying that. Right now, if you ask for the future, right now we are still renting the place. That's why the German government, after the reunification of the East with the West, unfortunately didn't give the house back to my family, rather than selling it to a real estate investor. So My aim, if I could wish for, would be that maybe one day we'll be able to purchase the house back and therefore correct some of the history.
It sounds like a small, well, it's massive step, massive bold step for you, but it means much more, right, than that. It's much more not only getting your property back, but it is like our history, right? That you're kind of touching up on, which is quite really nice to hear. And yeah, I really wish that this is going to happen for you. And yeah. So, as independent hotelier, as you are nowadays, what what do you think, or what would be like one tip you can give to other independent hoteliers who maybe are thinking about, doing such a daring step as you have done? Or, yeah, what is the one tip you really would like to give to people?
Very easy question.
Is it?
Yeah, because I'm truly believing it. Guests in future, they want real and authentic, but also spontaneous and effortless experiences. You see that with all the otas coming over. I see otas, for example, as a good thing because they are bringing guests to me. So
Yeah,
here, the digitalization is the main key to make our offerings available at a fingersnip. But the service itself always will and has to remain human, right? As we are all social beings, and therefore we do not want to be served by a robot or a machine. So use of technology around your hotel and its operational processes, but at the same time make yourself and also your team available for your guests. She or he is very much sure we appreciate that many more than anything and will come back. And that's the other very important thing. What I have learned now in the first 5 years, that it's your regulars adding to the whole atmosphere. And if your guests are happy in returning, that's the best achievement you can reach.
yeah. I fully and 100% agree. And I think that is maybe also where really the differences between the independent hoteliers and maybe some bigger chains, none of which is better, right? It's just a
Mhm.
different concept, and
Yes.
we are just a different breed in a way. Indeed. So yeah, I would just like to thank you so much for speaking to me, and it was an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Yeah. Pleasure to wholly on my side. All the best for you, Nadia, and your team.